Thank you.
Okay.
All right, we are live on YouTube right now.
All right, so good evening, everyone. We'll start this meeting of the Nantucket Historic District Commission. It's Tuesday, October 31st. Happy Halloween. Just a little bit after 4. Roll call currently, myself, Stephen Welch, Abby Camp, and Diane Coombs. Let's see, this meeting is being audio video recorded. Anything you say or display will be shown on the town's YouTube channel. Please act accordingly. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Okay, Diane, we'll go with you on that one. On your motion,
Aye.
Abby?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. I'm gonna ask that under other business discussion and vote that we just hold that. Till we have a full membership. Diane, that's the item is the necessity or its lack of including minutes with every old business application. So I'm suggesting we just hold that until we have a full complement. Any concerns with that? None, there being none, that carries unanimously. Consents, do you or Abby need to recuse?
I don't need to recuse. I just have a question on 99 Main Street, but that's.
99 Main.
Nobody can hear you. Oh, yeah, so, just.
Which one is it on
It
the
seems
list?
to be on consent with conditions, 99 Main.
Okay, so I'm
It's-
gonna hold you on that
Okay.
just for a moment. Diane, do you have any questions on consent? Abby?
No,
Okay, Diane, any questions on the consent items?
I don't know what we're doing here. She's not here. It's.
Diane, are you there?
I'm here. I
Okay,
don't
any
have-
questions?
No,
You're
I
good with
did
them?
I did my 10, but they got absorbed by Zoom. So I have no question. The only one that I had a question on the ones that I did was 51 Weeder Road. And I didn't okay it because it was the actual building and I thought it was probably better just to review it. That's all. I don't have any other questions.
Okay, great, thank you. So can I get a motion to approve consents?
so approved, so moved.
Okay, Abby, on your motion?
Aye.
Diane?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Okay, now we're on to consent with conditions. So we have 2 with questions. One is, Abby mentioned 99 Main, and the other is 43 West Myacomet Ave. Since Val isn't here for 43 West Myacomet, we're gonna hold that till next week. Or we can move it up into, I don't know where it would have been in line, so we can put it at the end of new business. But I want to hold that till next week. So if we get to it, it'll be a hold for information. 20, number 20, Abby, you had a question on 99 Main.
Right, so I was looking at the drawing and I'm not sure I have this right, but that there's fencing, it's that old historic house. It's the Historic Association. And the fencing, they wanted to take out a section of it. It's a very unusual fence and they wanted to take out a section so they could get in there and do landscaping. Is that?
Kind of correct.
Okay, but I'm fine with that, but I think it probably should remain a gate and go back because I think it's going to look very odd not to return back to the main house.
Okay. I think what we'll do with that one is then we'll hold it for the full board. So we'll move that off. I don't want to be confusing. 43 West Myacomet and 99 Main Street, we're going to hold till next week.
I'll make a motion to
You want to, go ahead. I'm sorry.
to approve everything but 99 Main and 43 West Myacomet Ave.
And can I ask, as opposed to a motion to approve, can you do a motion to hold those?
Oh, yeah, and a motion to hold 43
Okay,
West Comet.
just to be clear that we're
and
not-
99 Main.
Just to be clear, we're not disproving them. On your motion, Abby?
No, could I say something?
Yeah, go
I
ahead,
wanted-
Diane.
I wanted to take out 51 Weeder Road.
Oh, I thought you said that one was okay.
And
I
I
thought you,
said, it's, I said I didn't think it was okay when I reviewed all those. And that
okay,
it
so
was,
the main house? The main
Yeah.
house?
I
okay.
have a question about the main house and their French doors.
Do you have a question or you want us to review it? I just want to be clear on what I understand.
I would like you to, us to review it because I believe it's going to have the same problem that, 43, whatever, Chips Building had with all the French doors facing the west and the
Oh,
sun.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna wait to hold on discussion on it just so that the applicant's agent can present.
No,
So,
that, I just was telling you why I called it.
no,
that's all.
I appreciate your clarifying. I just didn't want to go too far into it is all. I'm just, so let's just re-clarify. The motion is to hold, Abby, if you will, 51 Wee Weeder Road, main house, 99 Main Street and 43 West Myacomet, and to approve the other items.
Yes, that is my motion.
Okay, Abby on your motion,
Aye.
Diane,
Hi,
and an I. Okay, with that, we have the better part of 60 applications out of the way. Let's move on to old business. Let's see. Welch, Camp, Coombs, and Lisa, hi. Do you want to proceed with 3 members? Yeah, yeah. I don't have a concern about that. I just wanted to make sure you were had the opportunity.
That is a possibility, correct? People can rejoin.
As long as they've only missed 1 meeting.
Go in the second time.
There used to be some confusion about,
Oh, this is the approval of the. Stamped through yet.
and is, oh, in relation to reviewing this?
Yeah.
Okay,
That was what was, I believe, held the last time.
okay, so let's give, Abby, would you mind sliding that down to staff? Does staff have these?
No. Other than this. Unfortunately, I don't know who the email was with that.
Right. Okay, well, let's see what we've got. Let's
Okay.
get a handle on what we have,
Okay,
and then we'll go from there.
so these are, this is the application is for changes to the house in the back. And the last time it was heard, the only concern, I believe, was on the elevation that faces south because of the French doors that we're proposing to add to come to that courtyard. And at the time, we did not have the shed approved.
Okay.
And now we do have the shed approved. And so I've included in what I just handed out was the approval of the shed, which I think happened a couple weeks ago on consent. And then also an elevation looking at the main house from the street, the shed, and then the view towards these French doors. So I think given the amount of architecture, the visibility of the French doors is going to be pretty limited from the street.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. Diane, where we are is that we have some information that you currently can't see, which is the location of the shed.
Yep.
Relative to the house and the structure in the rear. And
Right.
I'm wondering what you think about, can we go
You can see it on the plan, the location of
can
the shed.
on the plan, and can we go to the Diane, do you have a pretty, you can see it on the plan where the shed is?
Yep, I can see clearly.
Okay, great. And then can we scroll down to the image of the front up the driveway? Is that in the packet?
Oh, yes,
This.
that is in that should be in the packet, the photo.
Yeah, do you guys see this in the pages? You scroll down?
Mm-mm.
No, that's it.
No, that's not there.
Okay, Diane, I was hoping to show you an actual image of it too. Are you comfortable proceeding with the review, given the information you have at hand, Diane?
Yeah, yes, I
Okay,
am.
great. Okay, so let's begin. Holly,
Yes.
comments?
Holly's comments. The front door should not be French doors. At the last meeting, there was a recommendation from a commissioner to add an old-fashioned barn door that would be more appropriate due to the location of this structure upon the lot. It should be revised. And then she has, and a little star next to it, the raised roof pitch on the east was previously approved. The Sanborn insurance maps from 1898 to 1949 shows this building as a workshop in 1898, 1909, and in 1923, it was a house or garage. 1949, it was part of the Nantucket Cottage Hospital. It started off as a, I don't know, utility building, maybe. It deserves a barn front door. I don't know. Sorry, it's
That's
very
okay.
small and
okay.
it's.
It sounds like you nailed it.
Holly's handwriting.
Sounds like you pinned it down.
Yeah.
For the most part. Are there any abutters? Do we see anybody with a hand up?
No.
Okay, Mickey?
Yep, I'm here. Thanks, Stephen.
Hi, good afternoon. You know the drill. Could you identify your group and so
Sure.
on?
This is Mickey Rowland, representing the Historic Structures Advisory Group, which includes myself, Angus McLeod, Jason Finger, Lucy Dillon, and Mary Bergman. So as Holly said, this building is built in the 1800s. It's a pretty old building. I'm not sure exactly when, but it really should have a proper front door. Visibility may be somewhat limited, but I still think it's possible you'll see this between the houses. And yeah, French doors are just not appropriate facing the street. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Abby, do you want to begin?
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. And I think I'm worried about the precedence of French doors on the you're going to see this sort of obliquely coming down the street. I think a barn-like door, not French, would be fine. So that's why how I'm leaning. I think it's a historic house, and it sort of deserves that sort of attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Abby. Diane?
I think it should be a regular door. North Liberty Street is not, Westchester is not unusual going up there. I think that a regular door, the house follows regular pieces of it, so that's what I would think.
Okay, thank you, Diane. I'm of a slightly different mind. I think given the distance from the street, it doesn't read as a totally separate structure, and it would be partially blocked by the shed garage. But I think what I would suggest is that you have some options, and then you also obviously have the opportunity to ask people to mull it in.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps at the next meeting, you could present, maybe when you're ready, you can present some options and members about.
Yeah, I just wanted to say a few things. I mean, this is
Yeah.
not intended to be a front door. The house doesn't have a front door now, and that's not the intention of this door. It is to create access to a shared space because they now own the front building. You know, I think the visibility is going to be extremely limited once that shed gets built and the landscaping goes in, and very obliquely, you'll have to really look for it to see it. But maybe we could do like a barn door over it, you know, some sort of a sliding barn door over it. I mean, I guess I'll take a look at it. It just doesn't seem like it's going to be front and center on the road. I understand the concerns about it looking like a front door, but that's not its intention. at all, is to create a front door, because there's no front door there now. There's just
Look,
windows.
I'm just referring to its historic, that it's an old house and I'm not sure where the front door was on that shop or whatever it was, but I'm just talking from a historical point of view that it's a historic house and we should give it no matter what, it's due. So.
Okay,
I
thank you,
think,
Abby.
I make a motion to hold for revisions.
Okay. On your motion,
Aye.
Diane
And I,
and I'm an aye.
Okay.
Thanks, Lisa. Next up is, I just scribbled over this in my notes. For 7 Union Street. Matt, do you want to, you just got myself and Abby, so you can, if you're gonna be here for others, do you want to wait? Ray is signing in shortly. Okay, he's actually trying to sign in now. And Luke? Yeah, go ahead. It's got 51 Wee Weeder is gonna show up. I think with Ray here, we're gonna actually just do it next. Because that was, unlike the others, that was a question that was for open debate, where the others were informational, then we don't have the information. So yeah, we'll move 51. We'll do 51 Wee Weeder after Matt's, presuming Ray is logging in now. In the interim, we'll have a moment of silence in honor of all those moments of silence you never get to have.
Take some deep breaths.
Take some deep breaths, put both feet on the ground, relax for a moment. You people at home, don't get up to get more popcorn. Just hold on.
Don't get scared.
Oh, he didn't make it in? Okay. So we're going to convert that moment of silence over to, do I have the agenda that shows which ones are being held? Thank you. 4 Harbor Square is being held. That's number 1 on new business at 1024. So we're moving into the 1024 new business list. 10 Everett is a demo garage. Do we have an applicant's agent or the owner? Laura Hedrick. Laura, if you're out there, you could please raise your hand.
I don't see nobody.
Don't see anyone. Okay. So we're going to move on to number 3, 199 Nantucket Road is being held.
Yeah.
We're going to go to 1 Bloom Street, new fence. Hello, Elizabeth. Let's see. You're going to go ahead and do your thing, and then we'll have Sarah give Holly's comments, and we'll go from there.
Do you want me on the microphone?
Yeah, please.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess we're having technical difficulties over there on the left.
Hello.
You're ready.
Yeah, so Elizabeth O'Rourke for the applicant. This project's basically all completed. But we hadn't applied for a fence in the driveway itself. Because there is that low picket, it needs to be replaced. And the neighbor has this solid white fence right there. So the client would like to connect to it with the same style fence, but natural to weather.
Gotcha. Thank you. Any questions?
Same style, meaning picket or,
The same style as the white fence that you approved recently.
but it takes the corner and goes back.
Yeah, just in the driveway. Yeah. They have no room really for planting there.
And Diane, any questions?
no, I'm just looking at it.
Okay, Elizabeth, I presume the plant material that's on the neighbor's property is gonna remain?
I assume so.
Okay, just, I mean, to the extent you know.
Right.
Sarah?
Fence no greater than 5 feet, shouldn't be right on the property line. Appreciate that it's not white.
Okay.
Since it's replacing the existing cap and picket fence, it should have vegetation with it and be no closer to the property line as the existing.
Okay, thank you. Any neighbors with their hands up? Mickey?
Yes, we have no concerns really about this, but think that it would be appropriate and probably better if you could plant some sort of climbing type vegetation on the inside of the fence. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Who'd like to begin?
I think Mickey means outside of the fence.
Yeah,
No. On the driveway side.
on the
Yeah.
driveway. No, okay. Diane, you want to start?
Well, I think the fence is good as not white. And to go along there, I think that it would look appropriate. And there is some planting, if that's the house that I'm looking at, it does have some planting. And a simple fence in front and going just around the corner would be acceptable. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Abby?
I already find the white fence egregious and tall, and I think I'm not in favor of this.
Okay. I'm okay with it as proposed. I think it's close to the driveway. The fact that it's natural to weather is gonna make all the difference in the world, to my mind. And conformity with the existing height of the existing fence is on Bloom, I think is okay. Diane, it's kind of up to you if you'd like to make a motion.
Well, I'll make a motion to do that, to have the fence as proposed in the application.
Okay, on your motion,
Aye.
Abby?
I'm a no.
And I'm a yes. So for the record, 2 in favor and Abby's a no.
Thank you. Can I ask you about 43 West Maya comment?
43 West Maya Comet. I have a question on, and since we don't have the member who put it on consent here, we're gonna hold it over.
Until she's here.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
understand there was a public comment too. So just so you're aware.
Right.
And,
But I shouldn't linger to the end of the meeting today.
no,
No.
it'll be Tuesday. That one we can't address.
Okay, until,
Unlike 51 We Weeder, which we can address because we have full membership and stuff.
sounds good.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks. Happy Halloween. Let's see, we're on to 20, no, Ray?
No.
Okay, 27 North Liberty. Michelle?
She's on.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, great. Welcome to the HTC. Once you see your application up, the site plan, why don't you go ahead and provide whatever information you'd like to share. And we'll go from there.
Okay, great. Hi, how are you? Can you see me or
Yeah.
am I visible? Yes?
I can see you.
Okay, great. I'm the new owner of this property and I inherited the approved HDC plans. And I'm also an architect and a preservationist with a master's in preservation. And I really felt that in looking at the approved plans, it really took away a lot of the historic, original historic character of the house. From the exterior, the house built in 96 and added in 1802. Lots of historic photos of the property. And so basically I wanted to reduce the scope that was approved and with a few minor changes to a few minor additions, but the reduced scope would be not to do the approved second story, which is the rear addition. In looking at the interior of this scope of the house, what was approved would have taken away almost all of the historic timbers and structure. And my goal is to retain as much as possible and reuse as much as possible. So basically on the I guess if we go to the front facade, proposal is for a 6-panel door with lights above. The shed, the main change I was requesting is the relocation of this side shed that was approved, and the addition of a window next to it, just next to it here. The side shed where it is located now and the way it was approved would have taken out all of the supporting timbers, the original supporting timbers of this side of the house. And by moving it over, it allows me to not touch those at all, and also allow for a window between the supporting members to add light into the living room space. The other addition is there was one window approved on this. Oh, and to reduce the scope of the rear addition here, the third bump out in the back, and reduce the width of that, not expand it as it was shown in the approved plan, but to request an extra window in that elevation. And that's really a little bit further set back than any of the northeast facade. And then lastly, on the northwest facade, there is currently a small ribbon window, and that was scheduled to relocate into the shed, which I would like to still maintain, but add a third window there, basically to unify that elevation. It's actually an existing bathroom there, and a window would be helpful with the low ceiling height there.
Okay, thank you, Michelle.
Okay.
Any questions? Diane, Abby,
No, I'm ready to go.
Sarah?
I have
Yep.
Holly's.
Yep.
Okay. It was individually significant, 1798 Seth Ray Copper Shop. Appreciate the reduced scope for this individually significant structure. This includes keeping the dwelling in the existing location, not adding a second floor addition, and keeping the existing chimney. Appreciate retaining the existing windows and changing the front door to match the 1890 NHA photo, along with bringing the historically appropriate door shutters. Although the existing rear has a contemporary full light French door, the previously approved 12 light kick panel was more appropriate. So then the proposed triple 3 light window relocated in the front shed is odd, but appropriate retaining the window could be added. I don't know. Added. I don't know what that says, but she's got another one.
She could have been a doctor.
Really. The gable and vents changed to single fixed light is not a typical feature in an 18th century structure. The southeast bump out is appropriate, however, moved more inbound than previously approved. That said, understand the need for relocating the exterior window. It looks crammed between the new L and corner boards. Is that historically appropriate? She has a question mark, not sure. And it will be highly visible. The removal of the smaller window on the second floor of the southeast matched the 1890 NHA photo. However, appropriately keeping the existing and not removing more historic fabric. Although there is an existing 3-light on the northwest elevation. Adding another 6x6 on the second floor is atypical, especially for a small 3-bay. That said, the existing 3-light is odd and the proposed is better. Appreciate the overall reduction in changes to this individually significant structure. A visit, what is it? Discussion on the rear French doors. So that's it.
Okay, great. Anyone with their hand up?
Anybody? No.
Mickey?
Yes, so a couple similar comments to Holly's. On the rear of the building, the 6-light French doors they're not typical in the OHD. They should be changed to 12 lights with kick panels.
They are 12 lights.
I'm sorry, Michelle, we're gonna just proceed through individual comments, and then if you want to make comments at the end, you can do that.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mickey, you have the floor.
The drawing that I'm looking at shows the proposed doors are three 6-light panels, and I think that should change to 2 12-light panels with a kick panel at the bottom. So the adding on the northwest elevation, the addition of that third double hung window on the second floor is just too much fenestration on this old house. It's just it should remain either as it is or remove it completely, but I think it's probably appropriate just to leave it the way it is with the 3-light window. The skylight proposed for the rear is longer than we normally like to see them. It's proposed, I think, is 4 feet long. That should be about 30 inches long and moved up closer to the ridge to simulate the wood hatch that we typically see. And lastly, those small gable windows up in the peaks, those are really unusual, and those are very inappropriate in the OHD, and they should be eliminated completely. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mickey. Let's see. Diane?
Yeah, I will go. I have a problem with the 3 windows in the northwest elevation, second floor. I think this should be not 3 windows, and I don't think it should be 2 and a little one. I think it should be 2 windows and take out the center one and bring it into a more balanced thing there. I think that it's needed there. I appreciate the work on the front of the building. As it turns out, I know this building pretty well after all that stuff. And I appreciate the chimneys being remain. I don't have the east elevation, so I can't see the French doors you are talking about. But I do believe that a 12-light with a kick panel goes with the house better than what is proposed. So that is it. I appreciate the building not being moved after all the go around for it. And I think that answers all the stuff. I go along with what Vicky said, except I'd like to see just 2 windows up there instead of 3. That's it, I think, for the time being. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Diane. Abby?
Yes, Abby Camp for the record. I was just curious about that this house is not being elevated. It's because I know that the front door is sort of below the sidewalk there, and I was wondering how that was going to manifest itself. But I think it's a very sensitive renovation. I'm glad the chimney is keeping. I'm sort of on the fence about that third window on the northwest. I think it sort of gives it some balance. I know it's a historic house, but there are odd things that go on in historic houses, so I think the three windows is okay. I think in the back that maybe just two French doors with a kick panel would be more appropriate. Let's see if I've got anything else here. Oh, the little attic windows. I think they're out of place here. I don't, if we had to have them, I would put panes in them, but I think way up there in the gable, I think that takes away from the historicness of the house. Foundation, kick panel, attic windows, blah, blah, blah. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Abby. Can we go to the application, please? And click up on it into that second section. No change. Okay, so Michelle, I just want to get clarification. The application indicates there's no change in grade. The elevations show, can we go to the elevation showing the front? Yeah, the elevations of the existing versus proposed show what appears to be the house being raised, the height of it raised with an S. Can you clarify what the intention is?
I'm not touching anything with the grade of the house at all. The existing door is actually level with the sidewalk, the threshold of the existing door. And there is a recess drain just at the front entry, but there's no change in height at all.
Okay, so no change in the grade and no change in the foundation?
No,
No or yes?
no change, no change.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to be sure. I have no concerns with the southwest elevation. Can we go to the next one, please? Oh, no, just the next elevation on the same sheet. Yeah, there we go. So the northwest, I actually appreciate the downsizing of the secondary structure and the relocation of the chimney. I agree with prior comments. I think the triple gang window and the small gable window are atypical and inappropriate for the structure. And on the next set of elevations, please. I agree that the light size of the French door should be reduced. And the number of the lights increased and the number of doors reduced to 2, which is typical, or more typical, I should say. What would we like to do, folks?
I have one more.
Yep, Abby?
Sorry, Abby Camp coming back in again. That last massing, the little one, what is northwest,
North.
southeast. Yeah, the southeast is very visible from North Liberty, and I think if there were a little window in that last mass as it telescopes all the way back, it just looks a little empty without just a very small window on at least the North Liberty side. I think would help that elevation.
I'm sorry, Abby, can I get clarification? You're talking about
The very last mass that goes towards into the lily pond.
on the southeast.
Yeah, southeast. See that last mass that doesn't have a window on it?
So that would be the northeast elevation to look at. So this one.
Well, actually,
Right?
Right here, looks a little.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Facing the side yard. I gotcha. Okay, Michelle, did you understand? So basically, the southeast elevation, the rightmost small mass. Abby has suggested adding a window facing what has historically been the driveway side of the house.
Sure.
And then if you want to make a couple of quick comments, we're going to limit it and then we're going to try and take some action.
Okay, well, my intent with the windows is to restore all the windows. So if the inclination is not to approve the triple, the 3 windows on the other elevation on the then I would just leave the existing and propose a new ribbon window in the shed, the side elevation of the shed that was approved on the southwest. And just leave, although I feel architecturally on the southwest elevation, the existing does look like it's odd and doesn't really relate historically. And definitely clearly in the interior was an add-on to that. I understand reducing the skylight. I still would lobby for the triple door in that it is not visible at all from the street, and it is the only view, the main view onto the lily pond from that deck. So you know, if it's a 12 light, I'm happy to change that with the panel below and have the double French door and a single fixed panel, if that be a consideration.
Okay, I'm not
I've got it.
sure that
I think I can try a motion.
okay, I think we need to do an exhibit A.
Okay.
And I have one last comment before we proceed. Michelle, I personally am not concerned about the size of the skylight. I think it's not inappropriate. I would, however, want to see that has the visible aspects of it. There's a exterior wooden frame with a faux mutton that runs vertically down the center.
Right.
So it's a 2 light. But the size of it doesn't concern me. It's not overly large to my mind. Abby is going to try and fashion a motion, or would you prefer to hold for revisions? Michelle?
Well, how does that work? If you have a motion and the bulk of it's approved, I can just revise and have it reapproved on consent. I'm not sure.
It
how
would
that
come
works.
in under, yeah, maybe, depending on what you propose with respect to consent, it would have to come in as a separate new application. If there's some changes you want to make and then you want to get a consensus or a sense of the membership before we vote, you might want to hold for revisions,
Okay.
but it's up to you.
I like to do the most expeditious process. So would that be to hold for revision, then put it in next week as old business?
What's the deadline for old business?
Until she needs the minutes.
Yeah, you'd need the minutes, so it would be at least a couple weeks out, especially considering the fact that next week is Nantucket special town meeting and the HDC won't be meeting. So it'd probably be a few weeks at least.
Why don't we try?
Or we can try a motion and you can,
At
roll
least
the
she'd get-
dice.
At least
Sure.
she'd get.
Let's
Yeah.
do that. Okay.
Okay, so I'll try a motion, Michelle.
I'm sorry, Abby, I'm gonna interrupt just real briefly. Can we get a copy of the application so Abby can mark it up? Because what Abby's presenting now is the items that will be shown on an exhibit A, and the motion will be to approve subject to exhibit A. Thanks, Abby, sorry.
Okay. How do you spell exhibit? Exhibit.
EXHIBIT.
IT or ET?
Aye.
Hibit.
I got the A down. Okay, so the motion would be, there's nothing on the southwest elevation on the front of the house. Going back on the side, we would only have 2 windows on the second floor, nothing up in the gable. But you would replace what you called a ribbon window instead of that 3rd window on the second floor. And that would be it for that elevation. In the rear, the skylight would be pushed up to the roof line and be a 24 by 36, I think is standard.
Yeah,
Which-
I mean,
which I
I'm
think-
personally fine where it is. I just think we need
Oh,
to
okay.
add a wood frame and a mutton on it.
Okay, so the skylight has a wood frame and a mutton around the frame, and the French doors would, I'm fine with if they were 15 light with a kick panel. I think that would look more historic. And
3 or 2.
I think 2 might be more historic. And I think in that last massing, a ribbon window in that very last massing on the southeast elevation.
And then Michelle, just, we're gonna depart from our normal. If you felt like, you know, if this votes through and you wanted to make a change, you could come in for a revision, but in the meantime, you could proceed with those elements that are approved.
Okay, sounds great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, on Abby's motion, which is to approve subject to Exhibit A through staff, Exhibit A, and the elements she listed will be shown on Exhibit A. Abby,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Okay, that carries unanimously. Okay, we're
Mr.
on.
Chair,
Yeah, who's this?
oh, you can hear me.
Ray's here.
Oh,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chair.
Yeah, well, no, Mr. Chair, I'd love for you to chair this because I'm not sure about this connection. I used a little bit of Scotch tape. Yeah, yeah, you wouldn't believe, okay.
It sounds a little
but I'm-
scratchy.
I'm here.
Okay, great.
So, I just witnessed, the last application, so I can sit, if you would like me to, so.
Okay, so that one we're voted through. I think it carried unanimously. So what we're gonna do at this point is jump back to 7 Union Street. Matt is here from Emeritus, and it's a light kind siding and windows. You are actually chairing it, Ray.
Oh, it's old business?
Yeah, it was a holdover from old business.
Got it. Well,
And-
listen, I don't mind sharing with the proviso that if I start going staticky or jumpy or whatever, I should, for the interest of moving things forward, jump off.
Sure.
So let's just see how it goes.
Okay, and your board
Okay,
is,
so Matt's live. Go ahead.
I don't know what you have with you, so your board, your board is you, me, and Abby.
Okay. All right. Very good. So, Matt, if you would like to proceed, that would be
Sure.
great.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So you've seen this once before. So you're familiar with Union Street Inn. The building is obviously individually, it's a historic structure. And basically we're just looking to replace the windows, and it's in basically all the windows in the structure. A majority of them are older. We've filled out all of the requested documentation, the survey forms. We've taken photographs of every window, both from the exterior, the interior, and then we've also submitted supplemental close-up shots about just to show that the condition that they're in. So basically, they're just in really, really poor condition. About 2 years ago, they spent probably $40,000 plus, really trying to, patch the windows together to make them look as I guess respectable as possible, because it is an inn, but they're just in failing condition. We also added an exterior trim detail. There's basically two types of window trim on the exterior of the structure. We're calling them type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is the exterior trim detailing that's found on the facade of the building. The remaining exterior trim details are basically a plank frame style. It does vary a little bit. Any of the replacement windows go to a much simpler trim detail. It's just basically a 1x4 side and head casing with a standard sill. But the proposal here is to obviously replace the existing exterior trim where necessary, although I don't think we'll have to in many cases. But the board did ask for those details. But then just go with the plank frame wherever that occurs. And again, it correlates with the survey that we've provided. So I know that there's a lot of discussion about replacing windows in structures, historic structures of certain age. And the window ages, vary the further you get towards the back of the building. But I would equate windows to tires on a classic car, if you will. In order to keep it, running, you need to replace the tires. It'd be great if you could keep them, but they just don't have a lifespan as long as the building itself. So with that, look forward to comments from the board, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
All right, Matthew, thank you. Holly's out, right?
Sarah's reading her comments.
Very good. Sarah, to you.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's see, HDC survey, pre-1805, 1770 federal, 2.5 story, 5 bay, like siding and replace windows from January 2023. Updated window survey, red boxes, IDs, the details of the specific window conditions. Thank you. Many of the windows, muttons look small and therefore, I believe, original to the Revolutionary War era building. Many on the facade of the main block. The one in the rear L look contemporary. The windows on the main block should be restored, while the contemporary ones can be replaced in kind with same profile, Boston sash or Green Mountain.
Thank you.
Okay, Sarah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ray. Go
No,
ahead.
I know it's confusing. So Sarah, thank you. Is Mickey with us tonight?
Is who?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh,
Mickey? Okay.
Yep.
Hi.
Hi. So these windows are very old. Some of them are probably original. The photos on the survey are helpful. A lot of the photos don't show any real rot on the sash. They show some areas that need reglazing and painting, but for the most part, the sash looked to be pretty serviceable. Like kind repairs of some of the frames may be needed, but the old sash should be retained. And any of the replaced windows, of course, can be replaced again as needed. Thank you.
Mickey, thank you. Is there anyone else that wants to speak on this application before I turn it over to Abby and Stephen? Okay, Abby, Stephen, what say you?
I'll be brief. Abby Camp for the record.
Thank you.
I think the front of the house, the windows should be restored as best they possibly can. And perhaps you might have to switch some around, but I think on the sides you could go with the Green Mountain. It sort of reminds me of my own windows, but you have the luckiness to have them painted white. Mine are sort of wood jiggling around, but I think the front of the house is important to keep that historicness on the historic street, historic setting. I think that's the way I would vote. Thank you.
Abby, thank you. Stephen.
I think on the front of the house, to the extent sash are salvageable and casings, perhaps that could just be reused and the window frames could be built utilizing materials. I don't know. I haven't studied the window survey on that. But I think the rest of them is Boston sash is fine.
If I could, Mr. Chair, too. So I did actually meet with the Green Mountain representative on site, and we toured the property, and so he had a couple of recommendations for us. So I'd be willing to certainly restore the front elevation sash, and if there are any that do need to be replaced, I would come back before the board to ask permission.
Okay, Matt, thanks for that. And it seems like we're all in agreement on this. The front of the building restoration, sides, rear, can go to Green Mountain. We have to come up with some sort of generic language, because theoretically we're not supposed to be mentioning any particular brand name like Green Mountain or Boston Sash or whatever. But, I think we need to make that distinction so that we're not getting, Anderson replacement sash stuck in. So I'm with the rest of my board members on this one. Can we move this?
I got it. So
All right.
motion will be to through staff, restoration of the windows on the front elevation with de minimis replacement of materials without further approval required. Replace the other windows with a window closely akin to the historic Green Mountain window with a detail as provided.
I'll provide a spec.
This is the existing window trim detail. So it'll be the restore, as I mentioned, replace with a window similar to the Green Mountain historic, and a detail of the replacement windows to be provided and interleaved into the application.
Okay, that is Stephen's motion, correct?
Yes.
Abby, on Stephen's motion.
Aye.
Stephen, on your motion.
Aye.
And I'm in favor. Motion carries. There you
Thank
go.
you very much.
Matthew.
Thank
All
you.
right, thanks. All right, so I do not have an agenda, so I don't really know where we are.
So we're on to 1 Jefferson Lane at this point.
Sorry, Mr.
Okay.
Chair. The applicant for 19 Everton has logged on. She was this number 2.
Everett.
10 Everett.
Yeah.
10 Everett.
Ray, so number 2, 10 Everett, the applicant and owner are here. It's a demo garage.
And Stephen, is this new business or old?
New business.
Yeah, it's new business. We passed over it. There wasn't anyone to
We're
represent.
on new business now.
Oh, okay. So you're welcome to chair it, Stephen, since you're there.
Okay, great. Thanks.
I'll vote on it, but you can share.
Yeah, sounds good. So that'll be less confusing, at least for
Yes.
me. Laura, good evening. Welcome to the HDC. And when you see your site plan, why don't you give us a brief introduction to the project, please?
Okay, thank you. In August, I came before the commission and applied for a move on, move off application, which you guys granted for me to move the garage that is on the plan to 5 Pollywog Pond, and to move on a historic cottage from 5 Beach Street to that location where the garage was located. After the person moving the garage, calculated all the cost and everything, they decided not to take the garage because it was going to need too much work to move it and get it to his location. I then found one other person that was interested in doing this, and they came back to me and said that the structure needed too much bracing. to move it, that it was not in stable enough to move without spending a lot of money on that. So at this point in time, I had no one to take the garage, and I have an application in to demolish it. It is not historical, and I really wanted somebody to take it, but I've done everything I can at this point.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Let's see, any questions on this, Laura? Sarah for Holly?
Yep. Garage, circa 1949, Norma Garage contributing. The HDC approved a move off previously. This should not be demolished as it is a contributed garage, but understand the owner is trying to move on circa 1930 cottage from 5 North Beach Street. The other staff recommendation says no demo, please.
Thank you. Is there anything? Anyone in the queue, neighbors? Rob? Mickey?
Rob here. Mickey here.
Okay. The photographs are up on the screen.
Not very good.
Not very good. Hard to see. Who would like to begin? It'll be your board, Laura, is myself, Abby Camp, Ray Paul, and Diane Coombs. Abby?
Just under the question part. Laura, the idea is to demolish this and you were going to move a similar shed on to that onto your property in the same location?
Not a shed. It's a cottage that's located at 5 North Beach Street in town. And it was approved for it to move off and to move onto my property in Sconset.
Is that the 5 North Beach, or is that the building that exists?
This is, Laura, the drawing of the structure on the screen.
Yes.
That is, can we scroll up a little bit?
Garage.
That is the structure that exists, correct?
That is the existing structure. It's large enough. It has a space for a vehicle in there. And then to the left is a storage area.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I guess my question would be, could I see the one that is proposed for the area? But my feeling is that it's a contributing structure and I'd like to see it renovated. Perhaps you could add to it and then everybody wins. So that would be my feeling towards that.
Okay. Thank you, Abby. Diane or Ray?
I can go.
Go ahead, please.
So if I understand this correctly, this building was built in 1949, correct?
Correct.
And the building that you're moving onto the site as its replacement is 1930 something?
Yes.
Okay. So I like Abby's idea, but is it possible for you to have both of these buildings on one piece of property?
No.
No, space won't allow it, I'm sure.
Right.
Okay, so it's kind of a one or the other. So I guess my view is I do like this building. It has age to it. I wish that something could be done with it, but the idea of having an even older building on the site in lieu of this one, I think helps me with the idea that this could be demolished.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, that should sort of be a proviso. Demo of this would mean that the 1933 building would be moving on for sure.
Yes. And that's it.
Just so that we understand each other, so that you don't like clear the lot and then say, oh, well, I decided not to move the 1933 building on.
No, the move date is actually December the 7th for the cottage to move on.
Okay, got it. All right, so that's my piece, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Diane?
Yep. My feeling is, and I can't see this, a site plan, would be to keep the two buildings on there, or the old building that belongs on there, and then a place for the cottage. I think that, it has been voiced that would like to keep two together, whether it was done in 1940 or 1930. It still is an important part of that land. And if there's any way to absorb the two of them, that's what I would choose more than demoing the cottage or the garage. We're losing all our garages like they were nothing. So that's my feeling.
Thank you, Diane. My thoughts are that, Laura, what's your timeline for the demo? When would you have to have this cleared out?
Right now, the demo is tentatively scheduled for next week, because they have to put a foundation in for the cottage. And if it doesn't start soon, then then it will not be ready for the move.
Okay. I mean, ideally for me, this would be re-advertised, to see if it could be utilized in another location.
I tried all summer to get somebody to take it.
I took from your comments that you had advertised, you lined someone up, and then they fell through.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Okay. In any in any event,
Ooh, Stephen.
did I catch something from your mic?
It's the chair.
Yeah.
Just teasing.
No.
Sorry.
You
keep
may
going.
have.
Mr. Chair.
Oh, hold on one sec, Laura. Thank you. Just while I got the floor and I'm regaining my ability to talk. I think the overall notion that an actual structure that someone can live in that is older than the garage structure is being moved on the site drives my decision that this can be approved. I think we need to fashion the language such that you're going to have to rebuild a replica of this thing if you don't move the historic home onto the lot.
I will do that. I will do that.
Okay. As long as you're good with that, I'm good with it. Do we have a motion?
So I, just for my last 2 cents, I would
Yeah.
really have to see that we are putting what 5 Beach Street looks like. Cause I don't want, look, we've just heard from Holly, it's a contributing building. I don't want to demolish it if what's going there is somehow inappropriate. I think then we would have a lose-lose. So I just want to say that
Okay.
before we.
No, Abby, that's a point well taken. I'd like to get through you, Laura, clarification. 5 Beach Street, that application to move to your lot has been approved?
It has. It was approved
I
in
thought so.
August.
Okay. So I'm comfortable with that. I presume that the members who are sitting, made a determination based upon seeing the move off application. So in any event, what would we like to do, folks?
I could make a motion, but I got a feeling it's not going to carry. My motion would be to approve the demo of this building with the explicit proviso that the move on that was approved by this board in August is followed through on, and that the 1933 building would need to be situated on this piece of property.
Excuse me. And if not, the garage will be replicated?
Yeah, it seems like a joke, but I mean, yes, that would be the remedy.
Okay, because that one we have control over, I think.
Yeah, we actually do. That's correct.
Okay.
So yes.
Okay, okay, great. Thank you, Ray. On your motion?
Me? Aye.
Yep. Abby,
I'm a no.
Diane,
Muted.
Is she muted?
Yeah, she's muted. Well,
I'm a no. I'm a no, no, no.
you're a no, and and I'm a yay, so it's still a nay.
Yeah.
why don't I make a motion to hold and to see, because I can't remember what 5 Beach Street looks like. I can't bring it up, and that really affects my vote.
I'd be in favor of that.
Yeah, I don't have a concern with that. So why don't
Yeah.
we motion, Abby, please, to pick this up at the beginning of the next meeting, subject to the applicant providing staff the prior approval in digital form.
That's my motion.
On your motion?
Aye.
And I, sorry, Ray,
Yeah, aye.
Diane?
Aye.
Okay, great. So we have
There we
some
go.
direction on that. Let's see. Next up is 1 Jefferson Lane. Hello, Matt.
Hello.
Why don't you go ahead when you see your site plan?
Okay.
Stephen,
Yeah.
just because I'm flying a little blind here, I'm going to assume that you're going to be chairing everything unless it's an old business item for which I've been the established chair.
Okay. Sounds
Okay.
good. Sounds
All right.
good.
Thanks. Great.
So, yep, new business, and Matt, you know, your board, as you know, is going to be Abby, Diane, Ray, and myself.
Yep. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is a fenestration revision change. So I think there's 2 changes. One is the front door panel style, which is right on Jefferson. But if we could stay on the site plan for just 1 second, the other is changing some French doors to windows. If anybody's familiar with the site, this is obviously a small lot. It sits right on the road. The east elevation is completely screened. There's heavy vegetation. I think the board has just approved a revised spa and patio area, but basically these window changes based on the existing vegetation and fencing, I just don't think are visible. Those are on the east elevation. And then on the front door style, just wanted to make an adjustment to the panel style of the door. I don't know if you recall, but this front door was never totally detailed the way we had drawn it out. And it actually has a fairly inexpensive screen door, which drives me crazy every time I drive by it. And so we're going to be replacing it. It's something that you've approved previously. And so it's really just a modification to the lower paneling of the door itself. So with that, look forward to comments from the board, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Sarah?
Okay, this is an infill in the OHD circa 2018 alterations. Although this is an infill dwelling in the OHD, the 2 sets of triple gauged windows are out of scale and inappropriate. Keep as is.
Okay, thank you. Anyone with their hand up? Vicky?
Yes, thank you. So I would, we agree with Holly's comments that the proposed windows on the side are inappropriate. And I'm gonna add just a little comment to that, in that, you know, this application is concerning in that it could set a precedent for making inappropriate design changes as long as you plant a massive hedge around the house. The hedge is not appropriate in that location and is only needed to conceal the side of the house. I would say that inappropriate changes that require inappropriate screening and landscaping should not be permitted. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mickey. Any questions for the applicant? All right, who would like to begin? Concerns?
Well, go ahead, Abby.
Okay, I'm gonna do a very poor job at this, because anyway, I find the east elevation, those with, what are they called, triple windows? I are just too large, and maybe just two regular ones of a normal size. Something else that's already on the house might be more appropriate. I is, I'm just sort of shuffling around here. Where are the other gang windows? Okay, so that would also, my comments for the north elevation of those. Oh, no proposed changes. Okay, so those already exist.
It's just the two on the east. And if I could, through you, Mr.
Yeah,
Chair,
go ahead, Matt.
the vegetation, we showed photographs from the original construction. So all that vegetation is in, and I would, if it's possible to just, and I'm happy to hold for a viewing, just so you can kind of see the limited visibility, and that all that vegetation is there. It's been there. This is a person who built the house for themselves. They plan to stay there for a long time. So it's, but anyways, a viewing might be helpful.
Okay, thank you. Abby, you want to continue?
Sure. I'm just orienting myself here. The picture that shows the newly shingled siding with the barn door, is that what is being obscured by those Leland cypress? Is that what?
That was part of the original approval. And again, you can't really take a photograph. It's hard to take a picture of the existing conditions because it's so vegetated. But those sliding barn doors were a part of the original approval, and those are there. And that's not what we're looking to screen. That's not what we're applying for. Ironically, it's just replacing the two sets of French doors with this larger fenestration, just to get some more. It's not a huge house, and so trying to capture some more natural daylight. And there is precedent for windows of this size and scale, even on the facade of structures. Quint Street's one of my favorite structures with a former schoolhouse, beautifully scaled windows. But again, these are on the side. And again, I think a viewing might be helpful, just so you kind of see how tough it is to see them. And even if you did see them, I don't think it would be so terrible.
I think my only objection is that they're so vertical.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mean, the ones on Quince are big, more
Scaled,
square.
yeah.
But
Okay.
okay. So thank you. Thanks.
Ray?
I agree with Abby.
Okay. Diane?
The windows are too large. Yeah.
The windows are too large and too many of them. It's a smaller house, and it needs to have the windows smaller. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Matt, I think, the idea of a view is not a bad one. For me, it's the light size. I think the windows overall are a little bit big, but the light size too. So if these went to like a 12/12 or something that's got a historic pattern, as opposed to like a just very large 6. Well, what are these, 9/9?
9/9.
Yeah, something that's more in keeping with the scale of the other windows would read to me, not just proportionate, but almost the light size.
The historic. If I could, Mr. Chair, we did take the existing glass proportion size and use that as a basis for this, but I could certainly explore a higher division and take it from there. It might just make
you could still do that with
paints.
smaller windows.
What's that? Or I mean, one of the things we could look at is like a 6/9 cottage,
Yeah.
something like that.
Hey,
So-
Matt,
Yes.
Go ahead, Ray.
sorry to interrupt, but I think that's the solution, because rather than just make the pane sizes smaller so that they're now no longer matching the other panes, I think that having a weighted sash would be, at least for me, preferred.
Okay, so why don't we do this, folks? Why don't we hold for revisions to include some different options and a view? Oh,
Okay.
Ray, was that your
I'll take
motion?
that.
That was my motion, Mr. Chair.
Awesome. On your motion,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
and I'm an aye, carries unanimously. Okay.
Thank you.
We're gonna jump now to. Yes, we're gonna go back out of order to, thank you for reminding me, Luke, to 51 Wee Weeder. Ray, just so you're aware, this was on consent. There was a question and a concern. So we moved it to, back to new business
business.
24. And now that you're here, we're gonna proceed with it.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And Luke, when you see your site plan, why don't you give us 2 minutes? Count to 30 as I grab a piece of pizza and we're gonna begin. We'll eat here. And then ladies, if you want to rotate in to grab a slice where it says. Yeah. Yeah, I know, or the week after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Right. Thanks.
Okay.
One, two, nothing on.
You too.
Go ahead, Luke.
Okay. Well, this house is at the end of a dead end road with proximity to the airport and Noberdier off to the south. It was in the consent list, and I believe so I don't have a great deal more to say about it because I believe it's approvable, but I'd love to hear what Diane has to say. I think she was regarding the south side. But other than that, I've tried to keep it similar to the other houses in that area.
Okay, thank you, Luke. Just for clarification, and Ray is not here. Ray, this was on consent with conditions. The condition, can we go to the south elevation, please?
Yeah.
There you go. So the upper elevation, the conditions were south elevation, normalized French doors to the size midway between 1, the 4-gang sets of doors, and 2, the 2-gang sets of doors. So basically you're getting a middle size, and replace the 4-gang sets with a 3-gang set. So
Got
you're
it.
downsizing the doors and or you're normalizing all the door sizes, and then the 2-gang sets, the 4 gangs are going to 3-gang. That's it. That was consent.
Totally got it.
Okay, Diane, why don't you go ahead since you brought it up.
She's probably muted.
Yeah, I can't see the people. Diane, I think you're muted.
Hey, unmuted.
Hmm.
Okay, when I was reviewing this, it occurred to me that facing south, it faces south-southwest, which is our sunsetting vision. And we have the problem with Chip Webster's building out there that has the same elevation as this one with all the glass windows, and it picks up as you can't tell that it's a house there. You don't know what it is. It has been brought under consideration, Chip Webster's. This looks like to me that it's doing the same thing. I would take the number of windows out or separate them so that they are broken up, so they are not plates for the sun to shine into and therefore shine out onto the properties. And that's why I reviewed them, whether anybody else thought that or was it just me? Because this facade is all large windows with the exception of one.
Okay, thank you, Diane. Who would like to comment? Ray?
I can. I mean, I would have had more objection to this if it weren't for the with conditions portion of the consent with conditions, which basically reduces the amount of glass. So you're reducing it in two ways, as I understand it. The very wide double units will be getting narrower. And even though the very narrow quad units are going to be getting wider, presumably, there won't be four of them, there will be three of them. So net, you're really reducing the amount of glass probably by 25%. So I'm okay with this. With the revisions as stated.
Okay, the conditions. Okay, thank you, Ray. Abby?
The conditions, yes.
Okay, just to be clear, what we're seeing here as triple fours are being reduced to 3.
That were if we go with
Well-
the conditions, they would be reduced to 3. They'd be slightly wider, and the 2s would be less wide. Because they're kind of oversized
Mhm.
width-wise.
So I'm interested in getting more shingle around. Would that happen in a reduced, and when they go down to 3, would
You're
there
talking about
would be
the,
less glazing?
are you
in-
talking about the 3 kitchen windows on the far right?
I'm talking about the second floor,
French doors.
If,
south elevation.
yeah, those are 8 feet wide right now, so they could be reduced.
Right. I would like to see that reduced by 1 panel of whatever's up there. I think that would make a tremendous difference. Right now, it does look a bit overglazed to me.
So just to be clear, Abby, you're referring to the 4 gang
Yes,
getting to become a 3 gang.
yes.
So
Oh, right, yeah.
I'll restate the conditions. The 2 gang get thinner. The 4 gang get wider, but you lose a full door. Remove a full door. So there'll be 3 there. And there'll be, Luke, what's the width of the doubles? They're 4 feet? 3.5 feet?
That's an 8 foot, those are 8 foot units on the left.
So all the doors would be 3 feet wide versus. So the fenestration, the amount of glazing is going to come down rather significantly. If we were to follow the conditions. So what would we like to do?
Where are these conditions?
Can I move? Can I move it? Stephen?
Yeah.
My motion would essentially be to use the same language of the consent with conditions, which is to normalize the size of the doors, meaning the wide ones, the double ones would get narrower, and the ones that now are 4 would get wider, but there would only be 3 of them. So that's the way the language is in consent with conditions, and I was fine with that. So that's my motion.
Okay, thank you, Ray. On your motion,
Aye. Thank you.
Diane?
Well, we'll give it a try. I'll say yes.
Okay, Abby?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Carries unanimously. Thanks, Luke.
Okay, thank you all.
All right, now we're going to go back to, where are we? 32 Pocomo.
That's
Hey, Matt. Oh, is he gone?
he's actually requested to hold that, please, to the next meeting.
Okay, so we'll hold that. That brings us to 12 Gay Street, AC Equipment, and Ben. Is he online?
I don't see him.
No.
Okay, so we'll hold that.
Ben is not, but he's not going to be there. He asked me to represent. I'm the homeowner.
Okay, great. Richard?
Actually his son-in-law, but representing for Richard.
Okay, what's your first name?
David McCree, sir.
David. Okay, David, great. I'm sorry, could you say your last name again for the record?
Sure. David McCree, representing for Richard Farrell and the family at 12 Gay Street.
Great. David, when you see the site plan, why don't you go ahead and get started?
Thank you. So thank you. We've been residents at 12 Gay for close to 40 years, and been since the beginning of that time using the lovely hangout window air conditioners. My father-in-law is now 90 and still loves Nantucket and loves 12 Gay Street, and we get up there as often as possible. And we're making an application to put in mini splits. We have spoken to a number of people and worked a plan that hopefully meets with the conditions and of the HDC. My father-in-law, I would say, for a point of reference, spent many years as the chair of a HDC commission in Westchester, New York. So what we did is we broke our plan into two condensers, two smaller condensers. That allowed us to do two things. One, keep them much smaller and also run only vertical lines directly straight up the side of the home. The one in the top left-hand corner you can see there is snuggled against the existing power lines. So the visibility is very limited. And then we have an existing privet, but we've also installed a fence to limit any visibility. And then the second smaller conditioner would sit behind, the condenser unit would sit behind the stairway that leads to the back door, again, concealing the condenser from any visibility. And those lines basically run straight up, mirroring a downspout. So we've tried to make it as limited visibility as possible from folks coming up Gay Street, where they usually make a left-hand turn, or from the side of Westminster, where it'd be hidden behind the stairway.
Okay.
A little bit further, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I just say a little bit further down, you can see sort of in the application where the lines of the mini splits run up the side of the house only vertically and attached really to existing wiring to limit any visibility.
Okay. Any questions? Okay. Sarah?
12 Gay Street, individually significant, HDC survey circa 1835, 1836, Atlantic Silk Company, and 1844 converted to duplex. The plans do not show the recently approved porch addition. That said, the AC condenser proposed at the corner of the house at Gay and Westminster Streets will be seen slightly, even behind the existing privet hedge and the proposed 3-foot natural to weatherboard fence. I'm curious how the proposed line set along the corner board will look like, ? Similar to the white downspout, ? Same for the south elevation. Could they not be located next to the existing white downspout? The condenser on the south will be visible from the street out to the new driveway.
Mickey?
Yeah. Hey, Stephen, I think your mic might be off. It's hard to hear you.
How's that?
Much better. Thanks.
Oh, yeah.
So I do have a question for the applicant. And are they planning to build the porch that was approved earlier?
We've delayed the porch. We haven't made a final decision on that. It will not be going in this summer, that is for sure.
Does this compete with that design? Are they compatible side by side?
They're compatible. We've made sure that it doesn't run into it doesn't affect that porch.
Okay, thank you. So our comments are the hedge is fairly transparent. You can see right through it in the photograph in the wintertime. You'll see the fence, which will be, an unusual, fence in that location. It'll obviously have an air conditioner behind it. We're hoping that somehow you can get both AC condensers behind the house because the white plastic exterior line sets are not appropriate. Any new line sets should be run inside the house and not on an exterior wall. Thank you.
Thank you, Mickey. Ray, would you like to go?
Sure. Um, Now, the applicant said they're splitting up. I'm kind of following along with what Mickey just said about having both of the condensers behind the house. What's prohibiting you from doing that?
We looked at putting either one a little bit larger condenser, but that would then require the need for horizontal line sets along the side of the house. And it was our understanding that the HTC would prefer not to have horizontal lines. So we were trying to eliminate the need for horizontal running from the condenser in the back of the house all the way around to the side. So
Can I ask you a
not
question?
small unit, but straight vertical.
Yeah. Okay. So to the horizontal thing, obviously we don't want to have a horizontal like this elevation that I'm looking at right now. We have the small horizontal, which I believe is an electrical thing, but imagine that as, white PVC running horizontal between the windows. That would be horrible. But can you do that down lower towards where the foundation is so that we don't see it at all?
We could certainly look at using a larger condenser, and then again, along the lower level below the windows, you could run horizontal line set.
Well, I mean, the ideal would be, see how you have that white water table board running between the foundation and the shingles? I mean, if there was white PVC against that, it would be kind of difficult to see, discreet and low. That's my main thought.
Okay, thanks, Ray. Abby?
Yes, this is a highly visible elevation right across from the academy. Whatever that place is called.
Academy Hill.
Academy Hill.
Academy Hill.
And thank you. And the hedge is very thin there. It's a pretty beautiful profile, and I think we should wait. And if the porch is going to go in, I think you could mitigate a lot of this by working that with the porch. The interior one that's to the right of the stairs on the south elevation, I guess it is, I don't have a problem with that because that will read as a gutter. And so I think it's that one elevation that's across from Academy Hill that needs a little more work. I mean, those pilasters are historic, and I don't think we should, sort of interfere with those. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Abby. Diane?
Yeah, I agree with that. I wonder on the picture that I have up, which sort of the corner of Gay, you have a thing going up the side of the building, going up the side of window and going across. What is that?
That's a utility line that's been there forever.
Oh, okay. No, I just wondered.
Yeah.
I think if it could go down below, it would be the sensible thing to do. I've spent some time recently studying the mini tubes and stuff as to whether they're fit in. And I think moving that one over so it went with the gutter coming down was a good idea, and putting them along the base of the building, fitting them up in would hopefully work. And I think it's a good idea to wait till we see about the porch, so we see what's available and where it's available to tuck them in. Thank you.
Stephen?
Yeah, go ahead.
Stephen?
Yep.
I did want to, Abby mentioned the porch and Diane has mentioned the porch. And of course, there is an approval for the porch. But as I understand it from the applicant, that's not getting implemented anytime soon. And so my view of this is if solution can be reached without relying on weight or, make for it. But they're certainly not doing it in the short term. So I think whatever solution we come up with or the applicant comes up with and we agree to won't necessarily be contingent on the building of the porch.
Okay, understood. Thank you. I wanted to get clarification. Were you, Ray, saying on the west or the south to run horizontal at the water table height?
The side that faces Academy Hill, whichever one that is. Let's see. Keep going. Scroll down. I can't read those things.
So the south.
No, actually, I think it's the west.
Oh, west.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Yeah,
that
west.
faces
Yeah.
Academy Hill.
So the west.
Yeah, that was the one I was suggesting running it down at the water table. Now, of course, our applicant has to check to see whether that's going to help him out at all. I certainly don't know the answer to that.
Okay. So, thank you. I appreciate the clarification. So my thoughts are to be consistent with our guidelines. The line set conduit is not the manufacturer's conduit. It is a cedar box, whether that's natural to weather or painted is a separate topic, but I think it's important to make that distinction. If it's on the west elevation, I mean, look, all of these can go horizontally into the structure at the point of the condenser. Then it becomes a matter of interior work. And I understand that, applicants aren't really necessarily interested in doing demo work inside for their air conditioning. But the only way I see either of these going horizontal and then going into the water table into the structure is that if that is entertained. These line sets can be, 100 feet long. So it's not an issue of can it be done? It's a question of what's the appetite. For me, I'm gonna go back to the south elevation. And bear with me, doing this old school. I'm mostly concerned with the idea that the line set would go, unless it can be made to look like the existing downspout, I think I'm concerned about it running up the structure like that. The existing downspouts themselves are pretty obtrusive. So that's that one. And I would almost prefer, frankly, that the line set be run further to the right facing the south elevation and somehow be combined into the downspout with a wooden box. And then on the left side, leftmost side, at the column, the faux column, the corner board, that would be changed from just if I'm reading this right in the images, that's a painted galvanized downspout. And I think what we're looking for here with all these vertical elements is consistency. And to me, that consistency is putting these in wooden boxes that are painted to match the trim where there is trim that they can overlay, such as on the left corner of the south elevation, and then minimizing them by combining them to the right on the south elevation, and then also putting them in a box. I'm also concerned, I mean, the pitch of these gutters, something doesn't read right to me with these downspouts. I know they're not part of the application, but as far as I'm concerned, they're fair game. The pitch of this gutter should be such that there isn't a midpoint, because otherwise the gutter kind of doesn't make sense. It's got to drain to one side or the other. And there's not so much of a roof plane that it needs to have drainage interspersed at somewhat even increments. So that's a long way of saying the gutter that's on the south elevation to the right of the door seems to me like the gutter should, the downspout, the gutter should be plugged and then consolidate the line set and the gutter into one box where the line set conduit is proposed or in that area. And then you're eliminating at least one of these vertical elements. Well, you're not eliminating one, but you're combining the new one with the existing one in some way. I'm not sure if that's exactly how to do it, but I think, you know, maybe it's combining the line set that's proposed between the two windows vertically with the existing downspout further to the right. Something along those lines. I think that there's just too much going on, number one. Number two, the solution is to consolidate and to normalize these by putting them in wooden boxes, and where they can be painted to match underlying trim, that would be the case.
So can I ask a clarifying question, Mr. Chair?
1 second, Abby first.
I just want to say that this is, I can't remember what Holly said exactly, but this building has a lot of history. And it's very high profile. It's very noticeable. I think, you know, you've got to get creative, or maybe this isn't a house that you put outside condensers and things like that on it. Maybe we give respect to the old building and you find another way to get AC in your building. I just think we're sort of scratching our heads here, and or you go back to the table and get creative about how to incorporate these pieces into the historic building. So I would hold for revisions.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna let the applicant speak and then I'll finish my comments. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So what I've heard, maybe if we move the existing line set that's going up on this south elevation to the left and pair it with the existing gutter, and you know, make sure it's appropriately less visible as possible, and we change the condenser so there's only one condenser at the bottom of that, and then run the line set around the side of the house to the other vertical elevation. That might have some be worthwhile to do, to come back to the board. And then at the same time, I guess I would comment, what we're also trying to do, we very much believe and agree with the historic view, and getting all summer long, the window air conditioners hanging out of the windows. You know, we think that also is a benefit. I get that it's we're changing the outside of a building, but we think that's the historic view, which we love as well. So would that make sense, Mr. Chair, if we made those revisions and came back?
I wouldn't necessarily suggest that would be the only approach. I don't know that there's full consensus on a horizontal that wraps around the building, because it would be wrapping around the most visible side of the structure. I think what we're looking for are revisions that kind of consolidate the vertical elements, that bring them into simplify, and at the same time try and bring them into the same materials, vertical materials such as the corner boards, or yeah, I don't think one condenser solves a problem. I think it's going to create a problem.
Can I
Diane?
make a statement?
Yeah,
Maybe,
please.
maybe the company that is going to put these ducts in for him would have an idea, because it is their business and they know what we want. So it might give him a little more choice than for him to have to come up with a solution himself. I'd like
Sure.
to hold, as Abby said, over visions, so he takes it back to that company and talks with them. He can open
This
his
is their
windows in the
recommendation.
summertime.
Okay.
That's
So Diane, that's your motion, is for revisions?
yes.
Okay, and I'm just gonna add to simplify and consolidate in my own mind.
Yeah.
On your vote, on your motion, Diane,
Aye.
Ray,
Aye.
Addie?
Aye.
Okay, great. And I'm an aye.
Thank you.
All right, we'll look forward to seeing some modifications to that.
Yeah.
Thank you very
All right.
much.
We are on to five, wait, yeah, Two Dukes Road. No, Two Dukes, number 9, Two Dukes Road, number 10, Two Dukes Road, number 11, 126 R Main, number 12, 47 Milk Street, and number 5, 13, 5 Surfside Road are all being held, which brings us to number 14, 305 Pulpus Road, a fence and sandcastle construction. Did I get that right, ladies?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Robbie, are you with us?
Sorry, just a public comment for new business number 11, 126R. Just curious, was there any reason for it being held?
Yeah, I'm sorry, who's this for the record?
This is Kevin Toth of 128 Main Street.
Hi, Kevin. Welcome to the HDC. Appreciate the question. We're in kind of a Halloween mode with not a full board and alternates, and there have been actually something like more than half, I think, of the applications to be heard tonight have been held, or maybe half. So it wasn't just that one. It's a whole group of people. So it's kind of a special condition, special consideration given the holiday.
Okay, yeah, I guess I'm just with the abutters being here, is there a strike being given for this? Because we're here and there's others being presented, so I don't.
I don't think that there are. I don't think that there will be. The applicant can actually withhold, I think, a certain number before there's any penalty, but we've noted it, and we're going to proceed. We'll go forward with it being held for this evening. Let me say this: your concern is noted, and I can. I presume, given the history of the structure in particular, that, there's a lot of attention to be paid to it there will be a lot of attention to be paid to it by the commissioners. And quite simply, it's a benefit to everyone that this is held so that there's a full board with alternates available, should it be a longstanding hearing. Okay, so we're going to move on to number 14, 305 Pulpus Road. Do we have a agent for that?
Mr. Chair, I don't think there's anybody on for that.
Okay. Do we have, so hold that. Do we have, is Yuri here for 151 Surfside?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Yuri, we're going to start with the new dwelling at 151 Surfside. Once you see the site plan.
That was good. I still don't see it, but let's start.
Site plan.
Technical difficulties.
Push it up.
Okay, so there is a new dwelling at the 151 Surfside, which is it's put about 160 feet back from the bike path or from the road, and it's a pretty much typical 3-bay with some additions to the side, and it will be all the windows white trim, white sash, black roof, asphalt, architectural shingles, and mostly we are trying to keep it as far back as possible with the vegetation that's along the Surfside Road intact as much as possible, except the driveway, which should block a big part of the view. So yeah, it's kind of simple I think, simple dwelling. So I don't think I need to describe more on it. I guess. Yeah, I think that's all for now. We'll see what do you think.
Okay, Yuri, thank you. Any questions for the applicant? All right, so we're gonna move into concerns. If any, who would like to begin?
I don't have many concerns. I just think the pool at 40 feet is a little large.
So Abby?
Yeah, oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. And then just the pool will be the fourth one in the sequence.
Are we talking about the pool?
No, just the house right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to let you know when we.
Sorry, I must have brought up the,
Can I see the other elevations?
Yeah. We're just having
Thanks.
a little bit of a difficulty. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm seeing the most important one, but I'd just like to see them all eventually.
151.
151. Number 15 on the list. Do you know what that gray band is at the top? It looks like carbon fiber. Okay. All right. Oh, that's gone. Super. Ray, you want to go?
Yeah, I really it's a pretty straightforward building. I really can't think of anything to find fault with.
Okay. Abby or Diane? I'll go with Diane.
Yeah.
I agree with Ray. I don't see anything that is calling out to me saying, fix me, fix me. So there you are.
Can we go to the northeast elevation set? Abby?
So I don't know why we're having trouble just saying it's okay.
It's just not in our nature, Abby. It's not in our nature.
There is something about it I want to say, but I don't know what the words are. So why don't you go, Stephen?
Oh, sure. I think it's, it's a kind of a typical Nantucket home, and I don't see anything that's inappropriate or atypical. The front doors is, slightly different with the 2/2 style versus that front door, but it's, I'm not going to quibble. It's 151 Surfside. It's not located, immediately on a street. It's going to be set back and so on and so forth. So, Abby?
I think the one thing that pops out at me is the size of the second floor windows on the front. I think they're a little large, and I think this style, this design has a very modern feeling about it, and I'm afraid if we were to change that, then the whole thing might go off its axis. So I think that's those are my thoughts. Thanks.
Okay, so you're okay with it?
Yeah.
Okay. How come you had such a hard time saying
I don't know.
that?
I have a hard time talking anyway.
No, when you said that earlier, that's the only reason I said that. Okay, so what about a motion, folks?
Motion to,
Go ahead, Diane.
no, you're the chairman. You go.
Well, I'm actually not in this case, but thank you. I move to approve this as submitted.
On your motion, Ray?
Aye.
Diane?
Aye.
Abby?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. So now we're moving on to the new garage studio. Why don't we touch the site plan and then we'll go right to the elevations.
Yeah. So this here is simple garage studio, which is actually even more out of the way behind all the vegetation on the side of the building. Simple building with the garage door, no stairs, no exterior stairs. Just two dormers, and same as the house, white trim, white windows, black roof. I think that's it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any questions? Any concerns?
How tall is it? How tall is it?
Jerry?
22.
22.
I can't read it.
Shed.
22.
Yeah, I think it's like 22
Okay.
feet. Yeah. Yeah, 22.
You want me to continue, Stephen?
Yeah, sorry.
Given that it's 22 feet high, I'm okay with it. I was going to say something about the eave and the meeting rail of the windows, but I think in this case, because it's 22 feet high, I'm not going to push that one.
Yeah, we're trying to keep the height lower, so that's why it's not aligned.
Okay.
Understood. Yeah, which I appreciate, by the way.
Thank you, Ray. Diane?
She's muted.
Diane, you're muted.
The only thing that hits me is it would be nice if the garage door either had made it not look so wide. It's very wide for a little garage. I don't know whether you could put a column down the middle or what. Anyway, that's the thing that sort of hits me on the eye, and I think on the proposed south elevation to have one window down on the first floor and have it look more like a house or a guest cottage rather than a garage with one on the top. So that's all I would suggest. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Abby?
Yeah, I've got nothing to add. I was going to talk about the size of the windows. But they do kind of, instead of having the meeting rails meet the eave there, they're pushed way up and they're kind of snug up there. So I'm okay with that. And I guess that's what we'll see from the road if we can see it. I think I'm okay with it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Abby. Given its location and proximity, including the proximity to the street, I have no concerns. How about a motion?
Motion to approve is submitted.
On your motion, Diane?
Aye.
Ray?
Aye.
Abby?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Carries. New shed. I hope the meeting rails line up on this one. You're gonna be in trouble otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
On the shed?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't. There is actually a little dormer on the shed, which nothing is aligned there, but there is a big 4-panel door with a dormer above it, and otherwise it's a simple 10 by 20 shed. And it's also, of course, way back on the property, which is behind everything.
Okay, who'd like to begin?
I'll start.
Go ahead.
It's
Ray.
invisible. It's invisible. I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Abby?
I'm good.
Diane?
I'm good too.
Can we go to the site plan, please? Okay, I'm good too. How about a motion?
Motion to approve as submitted.
Abby on your motion,
I,
Ray,
Aye.
Diane? And I, Diane?
Aye.
Okay, carries unanimously. Thank you. On to the pool.
So the pool, just how they started to. I wanted to mention the size. It's a 20 by 40. Simple. I mean, it's a kind of average size or size that's used on many properties. So it's nothing, significantly bigger. It's behind the left section of the house and behind the garage. So it's pretty hidden. With a spa inside the pool, of course. Or the hot tub.
Thank you, Yuri. Who would like to begin?
I can start.
Abby?
I just wish it were smaller. But it looks like it's planned so that it's got building to screen it and it's far away from the road. So, it's really hard to talk about its size. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Diane?
I guess so. I'd like to see it smaller also in turn. So it goes, but it has the guest house in front and the shed in back, but nobody else seems to think of that. So that's it.
Okay, thank you. Ray?
I'm okay with it.
Okay, yeah, I'm okay with it. I wish, I will say, I wish the pool equipment was in the basement of this thing instead of potentially up against the neighbors, but that's not our purview. How about a motion?
Motion to approve as submitted.
Okay, on your motion, Abby?
I,
Ray?
Aye.
Diane?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. We are
Thank
on
you.
to
Good night.
69 Hulbert Ave. Replace all windows. Jeff Morash. Is Jeff with us?
We don't see him.
No, okay, so let's hold that. That brings us to, let's see. 20 and 21 are 126 Somerset Road. Those are held. Val is hosting the Candy Carnival over on Mizumas, I think.
Yeah.
And 45 Shakamo is also held. Mirka, I think maybe she has kids and she's doing the candy thing.
She does have a son.
Oh, nice. So that brings us to number 23, 4 Sunset Hill window and door change. Is Sophie with us?
No.
No. And then that brings us to number 24, 20 Nancy Ann Lane, commercial dwelling revisions.
No.
No one? So that brings us to that time that we all enjoy at 6:15, which is a John McLaughlin.
You're kidding me.
Nope,
That's it?
that's it.
Holy.
go eat some
Holy.
candy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go trick or treating now. I had to buy a costume.
Nice.
I got one for you. I've got a zip up skeleton with a hood.
Oh,
Worn it.
well,
Yeah.
I'll come and get it.
All right, I'll leave it in the mailbox.
That sounds like fun. And with that, we'll look for that John McLaughlin.
Mr. Chair, I,
Yes.
John McLaughlin, move to adjourn.
Excellent, thank you. All in favor, say, oh, we can't do that. Ray, John, on your motion,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
Abby,
I.
and I'm an aye. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Glad I could make it. Bye.
Are these all ones from the side?
Yeah.